I would direct your attention to center stage, and I want you to give a warm welcome to Robert Gill.
I just want to thank God for my salvation. I got saved, it's been over 30 years now, and I came from a broken home. I don't know who my real father is. I had a stepdad that was very abusive verbally, a lot of screaming, yelling going on. And in fact, I don't even remember most of it. It's like a hole in my memory. It's kind of weird. But I was very much a very destructive, very hyperactive, couldn't pay attention in class. Would have been diagnosed with ADD if this was today. My mom ended up leaving him when I was about 7, got remarried when I was about 9. And so finally I had like a normal family life, you know. Now they didn't go to church or anything, so I still didn't know right from wrong. But I began to mellow out as I went into my teenage years. And, drugs didn't have any kind of attraction to me. I never did any drugs. Tried smoking once, but didn't like it. My parents would give me a beer once in a while, and I thought that was pretty cool, but I didn't like the taste of it. And so that wasn't really an issue for me. And as I got into high school, I really liked learning. I was taking higher math classes, science classes. Even as early as my freshman year of high school, I was taking college classes. And I didn't want any kind of addictions and anything messing with my mind. I saw, people that were drug addicts, alcoholics and stuff, and I didn't want any of that. But the problem was, is I did have a deep addiction. I did have something that was really messing up my mind, and that was pornography and lust. And so at that age, there was no internet pornography back then, thank God. But in my mind, it was just continual lust. And like I said, I didn't go to church. I wasn't raised that way. So I didn't even believe in God. I believed in evolution. And so I thought that it was perfectly normal. I thought it was okay for me to have such a strong attraction to the opposite sex. But God began dealing with me. And the thing was, I could never understand the guilt and the shame that I was experiencing, and how I didn't like myself. But God began dealing with me about not really so much about my sin, but just about his existence. And I had a friend that was a Christian that he invited me to church. And it was a little Baptist church that was meeting at the library of the junior high. And I went for a while, and I remember coming to the decision that I believed in God, and I would even pray to him, but I didn't get to the point where I wanted to receive Jesus into my heart. And so I thought it was okay now, but nothing changed. And so a couple of years later, I had somebody else invite me to a church, a little church called the Foursquare Gospel Church in Sholo, Arizona. And it was there that I gave my life to Jesus, and everything changed. I mean, it was like I had a hunger for God. I wanted to learn. I didn't know anything about Christianity. And it was over the course of the next few months that God began changing me. And I remember I didn't want to look at pornography anymore. And I wanted to get married and stay with the same wife for all my life. And before I got saved, I didn't want to do that. I figured I would get bored with somebody too easily, and I'd have to go from relationship to relationship. But that was what the porn was teaching me. But I finally got to a place where God was working in my life. Now, I made some bad decisions. I hung out with this guy that I used to look at porn with, and I ended up falling back into that for a while and struggling with it. And I got to the point where I didn't know if I could live the Christian life anymore. I was thinking about leaving and just, going off and doing something else, starting all over again. But God broke through one day. I wasn't even in church, but he spoke to me, and it was like my mind was reprogrammed. All of a sudden, I was free from the lust, and it was just fantastic. I haven't been the same since. It's like all of a sudden, I had a control of my mind, and I had control of my eyes. And that's what the Christian life is about, is deliverance from sin. If you're here, you're not saved, God can deliver you from the things that hold you in bondage, the things that make you feel guilt and shame. And he can deliver you from that. He can forgive you. He can take away all that guilt and shame. And best of all, if you receive Jesus into your heart, you get to go to heaven when you die. And that's the best of all. So I just encourage you to do that tonight.